All right. So I, I'll just, if you can share the presenter rights, I would like to share a document and begin.
Oh, yeah, sure. I think you'll be able to share your screen now.
Right. Okay. All right. So before we begin, I would just like to give a little context. Uh, Printalytics started off in 2018 with a vision to, basically make work with SMEs and make sure that we accelerate their growth. And when we started, we did it in the form of 3D printing, and we realized that there is too much of latent capacities that are unutilized, and that's how our journey began. So I'm joined by my founder Kiran Kapoor and Ashwin Srinivas, both are co-founders of our company. We have been offering 11 plus manufacturing technologies as services to a lot of companies, from startups to the OEMs in terms of automotive, aerospace, and health tech companies, also the technology clients. So we are industry agnostic, I can say. That's how we have been offering solutions. And COVID-19 came in as an opportunity along with some challenges to us, and we are very fortunate to have been supported by the Kavach committee, DST, as well as HCIC, the satellite center, in making this solution, accelerated solution, a huge success. So let me just walk you guys through what we are doing. In terms of what we'll cover today, I would like to have Kiran talk about Printalytics a little bit, giving you the context of who we are, what we do, and how we have come to the place where we are right now. It will take very less time for it. And of course, the problem statement and our solution towards COVID is going to be the major focus, where Ashwin, my co-founder, and I will share some space. In the meantime, when we are talking, if you have any doubts, questions, feel free to pause, and we'd be happy to help you out, understand, and answer any questions that you may have. So I think we are ready to begin. Kiran, if you are able to hear me, and if you can start.
Yes, Ranjan.
Yeah, perfect. All right.
Perfect. Good evening, everyone. This is Kiran here. Thanks for the quick intro, Ranjan. Like Ranjan said,
Hello.
one-stop solution provider, where we combine various different technologies. What happens is, even in manufacturing, in a similar note, like say how we see on the digital space.
Hello.
Kiran, I think you have some network issues. We are not able to hear you.
Hello, Kiran.
Hello, am I audible now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. 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 Yes.
Hello, this is Ashwin speaking. There is some problem with Kiran's microphone. Just give us a second. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. Not a problem. Maybe I'll continue, and Kiran, when he's comfortable, he can just take it from there. So should that be okay?
Yes, Ranjan, please go ahead.
Right. So in terms of our purpose, as I mentioned, right, we aim to be a one-stop, one-shop solution provider, because what I mentioned is, during the journey we found out there are latent capacities that are unutilized of small and medium enterprises. In that sense, what I mean is, today we are talking about additive manufacturing, subtractive and formative manufacturing. if you look at additive manufacturing in the scenario today, there are hardly hundreds of additive manufacturing companies. By additive manufacturing, I mean 3D printing technologies. So, but if we take up subtractive and formative, we see a lot of injection molding folks out there. We see so many of CNC machining folks out there, right? About close to 70 lakh is what is estimated as the machining shops in India, and that's a huge potential in which hardly about 25-30% is being utilized for with flexibility and skills and the industry that they serve. So this is a huge gap that we saw, and that's what made us move from just offering 3D printing to starting off with bringing the concept design to a place where we can help with prototyping and then move on to custom product manufacturing or contract manufacturing. So, and we thought that small and medium enterprises are a very main part of the journey, and their growth is essentially what would define the purpose of us connecting the dots end to end would make sense, and that's where we are today. And of course, our inspiration has always been Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and several other people. He himself has mentioned that it's possible for ordinary people to be extraordinary, and we are on that path. So we are very ordinary people trying to make changes through our solutions, and let us see how things go. That's how realistic we want to be. In terms of the founding team, myself, Ranjan, I'm taking care of sales and commercials for all the projects that we deal with. I come with a 6+ years work experience background, from company called Mu Sigma, and I worked at L&T after my graduation, and I've been in Bangalore. So Ashwin, my co-founder, he heads the technical operations part for Printalytics, and he looks into all the manufacturing technologies, the nitty-gritties of it, and the like. Kiran has been focused on investor relations, and has also been he has also had sales experience by working in companies like Saint-Gobain and then Mu Sigma. That's where I met the founder. But right now the focus has been productizing our solution, because moving on from a service-oriented focus to basically make scaling the solution is currently a space where we would like to productize most part of it, and automate some elements, and that's where Kiran is currently focusing on. And we are supported by Deshpande Startups, CM Patil, who's the CEO of Deshpande Startups, and Vev Punekar, who was earlier a very senior leader at HCL. So both of them are helping us in our growth path. We got incubated at Deshpande Startups in 2019 of September, October, and we have a 2-year engagement with them. Recently we graduated out of the incubation program, but as a cohort we are continuing the relationship with them, and they've been a great support for us. Also, in terms of the software side, where we are talking about productizing the current services, we have Mr. Nagraj, who's our consultant. That's about the team right now. Hope I'm audible.
Yes,
Oh,
you're right.
okay. So how are we trying to engage with customers today? We started off with, like I said, some element of 3D printing, but slowly we realized that there is more to do, and we had 6 services that we were offering until this year. But we narrowed down to basically 3 offerings. One is custom product manufacturing, which involves batch volume manufacturing that starts from design. Rapid prototyping is straightforward, 3D printing in terms of metal, plastics, and composites. Then contract manufacturing is all about where we have figured out the product and it's all ready. Go to market is what the focus is. We can support customers with the 3 offerings, and right now a lot of it that's happening offline would involve validation of inquiries, after which we are going to work with about 25 odd our manufacturing partners across 11+ manufacturing technologies that I mentioned, and we'll get the work done. also keep the interactions with customers happening, and we'll keep them updated at every other stage, after which we'll deliver the product. That's the straightforward focus that we have right now. Most of it is going to go towards the platform side. And in terms of the tech offering, as you can see, we have 5 3D printing technologies, the likes of metal and nylon and composites, all the technologies that we are talking about in additive manufacturing through our partner and in-house is what we are offering. Subtractive manufacturing is CNC machining, anything to do with laser plasma work, or fabrication work. All of these things are something that we do. Formative manufacturing involves vacuum casting, die casting, injection molding, reaction injection molding, and plain injection molding, plastic injection molding, metal injection molding. All of that comes under the bracket. So this is in a nutshell what we have to offer. And I think if there's nothing from the audience in terms of questions related to our service offering, I'd like to move on to the problem statement in terms of what we are solving towards COVID.
Hello.
Yeah, Kiran. Yeah.
Yeah, Ranjan. There is one question from Mr. Frederick Johnson.
Right.
Yeah. So his question is, he's saying, how are we different, when it comes to establishing standards, and be professional enough to meet medtech requirements.
Right. Okay.
So I think you can speak about the bionic arm, work which you have done.
Certainly. So, Mr. Frederick, from your question, what I get is you're talking about some aspects in terms of quality certifications, or you're talking about deliverable in terms of product during prototype or manufacturing?
Both. It's both. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can certainly hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, it's both. Okay. So, right now, if I have to take an example, as Kiran mentioned, in terms of a product that we worked on, which is Bionic Arm, we had partnered with a company. So the solution, planning and all of those areas were basically their focus. What we help with is in terms of product fabrication and the right material to use, and how the product would look at the end. These were some features that we basically help them with. This we can support across several other products. So in terms of certification, if there's anything specific the customer wants, we can certainly look into it and basically help them with validating the product through certification. But right now, where we have ventured into is in terms of enclosures and products that require IP certification. That's something we have done. Anything very specific in terms of medtech certifications, we have not done, to be very honest. And on the quality assurance side, as I mentioned, test for validation, anything that is needed could be done internally or at the customers, as per the customer's requirements. That's something we can do. Hope that answers your question.
Yes, maybe I will have some more follow-up questions coming up. Can you drop your contact details? I will ask some of my teammates to contact you.
Certainly.
We have some requirements. We are also working with some other companies in Hosur and Bangalore already.
Wonderful.
But one point I see is how different are you from others? So that's a question. We foresee there are a lot of additive, subtractive manufacturing companies for sure.
Right.
This is my honest feedback. I'm basically an Indian, but I'm not sitting in India at the moment. I work with India very closely. So I see there is a lot of lack of professionalism with Indian companies. So this is my general comment. So maybe I don't know what is different from you with regard to other companies. That's my first question.
Okay.
Be it you have series of printers, FDM, SLS, SLA, metal, whatever it is.
Right.
There is always a professional, because you were mentioning about productization of your whole process. That is where business, that is where revenue comes in. So that's still not clear for me.
I understand. So one thing I can clearly tell you is we have close to 60-70% of repeat customers rate. So I don't think I'll have to tell more. That number is continuously improving and we are doing our best. But I'm not sure about the others. But customers whoever come to us with a requirement, they are definitely there with 4 to 5 more requirements till date. That's how things have been working for us. And the in terms of the project engagement, the numbers have only been increasing in terms of monetary value or the project values and all of these things. So maybe we can take it offline. I can, our team can certainly help you understand how we are different and how we have been successful in our engagement so far.
Great. Can you maybe drop your, I don't have your contact details. Sorry.
I'll certainly do that. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you, Frederick. So there is one question from Yash. Yash, would you
Okay.
like to unmute yourself and go on with the question? Okay. So yeah, let me ask on behalf of him. So it is, do you have all the printers in-house? So that's his question.
Right. No, certainly not. We do not have all the printers in house, but we have SLAs with people who have printers and who are offering services. And because of our continuous relationship in terms of working with them on orders, we get very specialized rates, and that's how we are able to serve the customer. We don't look at it as just offering printers. So just like Mr. Frederick also said, it's not about having 10 printers that could do the job. There is, we have also heard about DFAM, design for additive manufacturing, design for manufacturing in particular. It simply means, you have a lakhs together of enclosures today, right? Electronic enclosures, lakhs together of machines across a particular segment. Why is it that every machine is so different? Because the customer visualizes it in a very different way. To him or her, the application perspective is very different. So it is equally our role to make sure that the product actually matches the same. It's not something that is available, and it is not done for the sake of it, right? Everybody will have a thought process. It's their product, which means we have to make sure that we empathize, and we'll have to sit with them through every other stage. And finally, when we feed it to a machine, the machine does its job. So it has its limitations and it has its plus and minus. It's up to us to basically enlighten the customer in terms of what could be done with the technology and what cannot be done. And I can say that our team has been doing it fantastically, which we can, over the course of discussions, we can certainly take it up and discuss on these things. So if there are no questions, further questions, I would like to move.
Yes, please go ahead, Ranjan. Thank you.
Perfect. All right. So, in terms of a problem statement towards COVID, when it started in March, early March, end of February. So, first and foremost thing, yes, it took a toll on our health, physical health. Not just that, but we could see a lot of travel restrictions, work-based restrictions, and the entire model has changed so dynamically. There is an emotional toll that's also there because of COVID, right? The social impact and emotional impact, all of these things have been affected by a great deal. So COVID is not just impacting us in terms of only through its symptoms and the way it has dealt with physically. A lot of changes have happened, and we understood that in order to tackle this, there are two ways of doing it. One is on the curative side, which simply means once a person gets a disease, he just visits hospitals, flu clinics and stuff, and make sure that he's cured. So that's on one side. And there are enough solutions there, from ventilators to ventilator splitters. A lot of these things have happened in the past, and we are at very advanced stages of even moving towards vaccine there. In terms of preventive healthcare, we felt it's a very significant part that we could play a role, simply because COVID infecting people in late February or March was still on the cards. Like people were trying to figure out how to avoid it. There has been lockdown and a lot of ways that government and several other agencies have been trying to make sure that it is restricted. But when they are doing it, it is very important for people and everyday lives of people to not be impacted, because that's when all the circles, the lines of freedom that we are talking about, right? These things could actually move on with very less impact. That's how we can put it. while that has not happened till date, but I think these solutions and a lot of startups and companies addressing this, from the likes of Mahindra to a startup like ours, all of us, and I would like Ashwin to talk about, when he talks about the product, I think he's even going to tell how making it open source, making the design open source and improvising has helped a lot. And all of you, I'm sure, must be aware also. So in this aspect, we felt preventive healthcare is the space where a lot of support is needed, because that's how we'll make sure that people, although they are restricting their activities, they don't have to stop it, and life will move on in a way that they don't feel very disturbed. So that's when we thought there are three products that we could focus on. One was face shield. Another was door handle or the contactless COVID safety key, and the third one was aerosol boxes. So aerosol boxes, we also call it as intubation box. These are the products to fight COVID-19. So we have multiple variants of these things, and they have evolved in a way where a lot of applications in terms of utilization and protection has been taken care of. So I think I would like Ashwin to basically help you understand how we have arrived at these products and what we have done.
Thank you, Ranjan. Good evening, everybody. So my name is Ashwin. So I'm a co-founder of Printelix Private Limited. So the first variant of face shield, Ranjan has given you guys a brief introduction on how we came up with the ideation and how what is the thought process behind the products which we are offering as a part of preventive healthcare. So face shield, as we guys know, as we know, right nowadays is like having a mask and a face shield is kind of a new normal. So like wherever there is a public interaction, or wherever there is people meeting each other, the face shields are basically kind of they are protective layer between the two interacting people, and basically it lowers the risk of the
Contracting.
spread of COVID spread with the spatters or the viral particles in the air by direct contact. So we have seen the days where each of the in the beginning of COVID, where each of the face shields were being sold for somewhere around 200 250 rupees. So to the current days where they are like regular daily consumables. So
Correct.
the face shield we have been manufacturing, they have the design has been is based on the customer feedback, and there have been several interactions between the customer and us for to arrive at such a design. So one thing is basically it is really the some of the features are basically so there's the one you are looking at is currently is a basic version of the face shield. It is really affordable when compared to the current whatever face shields are available in the market, and they are they are transparent with a very good, very high refractive, very optimum refractive index, and also the double side. It also protects the we are the PET sheet has been provided with a double-sided masking in order to basically avoid the damage while transportation and also unpacking
For
and these
usage.
things. So yeah. So and also there is this protective foam given in order to absorb the sweat from the person's forehead, and also basically in order that the face shield will be comfortable for the wearer, and it will be permanently riveted with the elastic headband. And also the PET dimensions have been given as in the screen. So can we move on to the next screen, Ranjan?
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is the second version of face shield. Basically, this here we have The second version of face shield consists of a bigger visor. As you can see, it also covers the ear. We have received a lot of feedback from medical healthcare personnel that the COVID can also there are chances of transmitting COVID with through the ear canal. So here we thought of protecting the ear canal, so we have included the protection for ear, and also there is also a feasibility of lifting the front visor, so that there are you need not completely remove the face shield in order to get an access to have a drink or to have something to eat at some places. So, and also the front visor is completely replaceable and the headband is reusable. Uh, as you can see, the visor dimensions have been given in the screen. So there is also space for branding and advertisement of the particular company which is manufacturing. So even this one is has an elastic headband which improves the comfort, and also with a foam which is absorbent, which is sweat absorbent, and also it can basically it gives you that comfortable feeling of for wearing. Yeah. Can
Right.
we
So
move?
just to add, the first face shield, is disposable, and the second one is has a disposable, visor,
Visor? Yeah.
but a reusable headgear. That's the way we have designed it. Yeah.
So the COVID safety key Zeta is basically a thought that we had, as you can see the symbol, we the thought process behind the design came from the symbol. So we thought the we you can see there are multiple versions of COVID safety keys in the market, and none of them have a, retractable cover. Basically, we felt that a COVID safety key without a cover is a the product will be incomplete, and whenever basically you whenever people have an interaction with their surroundings, that too especially in the public places, like elevators, like public offices, or any other public areas where doors, elevators, and also public washrooms have been used. So basically these areas, when we use the COVID safety key to operate a elevator button and keep it back in our pocket, it's like again contaminating the or contaminating it will be like self contaminating again without basically
The cover.
sanitization.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we thought we have provided the cover which is kind of a self retracting type, so where the COVID key will be retracted into the pocket with the help of a safety knob which is provided which is provided at the end, so that in order to open also we need not uh, touch or contact the hook or the tip of the key. We can use the safety knob and basically use it. We have also provided a finger hole for better grip, and this the key is really pocket friendly and also really light.
Right.
Can you move on to the next one? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So COVID safety key Gamma is basically a one solution for many applications, as you can
Right.
see. Yeah. So here it consists of two hooks, and it's kind of a it's kind of a scissor kind of two scissor kind of arms, two arms, where it has also been provided with the ATM plug projection for ATM buttons, and also finger hole for better grip and these things. So the advantages here is you can grip anything with a flexible surface coating in between on the arms, and also the hook basically will help you to grab and lift household weights or shopping bags or such things without a personal contact. So it also comes with a safety cover which can be which in which it can be inserted after every use.
I think one point that I would like to highlight is with both the variants that we have shown, we were even able to lift plastic chairs. So that's the weight that it could comfortably take. Although we talk about easy bags for carrying, that's how the design has been validated from our end. That's what I wanted to add as a point. Okay, so
Just give me a second.
yeah.
Meanwhile, there are few questions lined up in the chat box.
Okay.
So, Ranjan, would you like to take up the question? So, we have a couple of questions by Mr. Krishnan. So, sir, would you like to unmute yourself and go on with your question? Okay, maybe he's facing some issue with network. So, his first question was. He's asking if you are also doing 3D printing on surgical implants.
Uh, we have not done any 3D printing on surgical implants, to be very honest, but we can certainly take it up, and explore at this point. Because our strength was more towards automotive, aerospace, and tech companies. Not just that, given that we have also worked with some of the medical tech companies, but not where it would touch the human body parts. It would be able to help people in terms of devices and other stuff. That those were the areas that we had worked on. We would definitely we are keen to explore the space.
Hello, this is Kiran here.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So just adding to what Ranjan said, implants, with the biocompatible titanium grade material is definitely possible. There are pros and cons. I mean, the market is not so very mature in India. The reasons why we haven't picked it up. But if there are potential applications where someone needs help, we're more than happy to take it up.
Okay, thank you. So, Mr. Krishnan has joined, sir. Would you like to go on with your question?
Yeah, there is a lot of requirement for orthopedic implants.
Right.
So if you can bring in some technology and also get the FDA approval on that implants, then
Right.
there is a huge potential in the Indian market. And the cost also should be falling down. Like it should not be
Right.
comparable with the imported implants which are available in the market.
Right.
So
Certainly,
so
sir.
something like that.
Certainly, sir. I mean, the only challenge what we face in biocompatible TI materials today is the cost factor. Now, one big deal, if that problem gets solved, right? So, to develop a technology, it's rather easy.
No, maybe I think we can have a discussion around this, and if you have any ideas, sir, or if you can show us some, give us some head start there, maybe we can go deep into it.
Yeah. There are some implants, orthopedic implants from a company called Ormat. That's from Germany.
Okay.
And they sell the knee implants and hip implants,
Okay.
which are used in the surgery. And there is a huge requirement.
Fantastic.
And we can also go for some of the implants if we can do it for cadaver implants for training purpose.
Okay.
So training purpose in the medical colleges, they do the implant procedure on a cadaver. That's on a dead
Right.
body actually.
Right.
So on a dead body, it is not essentially the material doesn't matter. No, it's only the
Right.
learning for the doctor.
Very nice. Yeah.
So that also can be done, and there is a huge requirement. Second, my question was, suppose I am repairing, say, microscope, very expensive microscope, and there is a part which is damaged. How fast is the turnaround time? Suppose I give it to you and you do the 3D printing for me, and then I fix it back. So how fast you can come back on that? So will it be possible for you to do that kind of a job?
Certainly, sir. One thing is it depends on whether it is a legacy part or if there are, if you're looking at a straightaway replacement of it, where the material and other stuff is ready, it would not. It is a piece of cake for us.
Okay.
That's how we do. But if you are talking about a part which is complex in the sense that it's an old part which does not have any data, then we'll have to go for scanning, reverse engineer the part basically, and we
Exactly.
can
You
arrive
need
at the
to.
solution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I have your contact details and other things so that in future I can contact you for
Certainly.
sample of jobs, and then I can provide you some tasks. Then we can
Certainly.
increase the business.
Right. Why not? Certainly, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the
Yeah.
opportunity.
Yeah. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. So there are even a few questions lined up by Mr. Frederick. So Mr. Frederick, would you like to go on with your questions?
Yes. Firstly, I would like to have your contacts, Ranjan. Thanks
Right.
again.
Thank you.
So I just few questions like do you think PP is biologically safe for the face mask, and maybe even face mask is going to protect you from COVID? Is my other question. Maybe we
Okay.
go from one after the other. And second, why do you call yourself a startup? Because you already make money. You're making service oriented, providing business. And why do you call yourself a startup? And
Okay.
third would be, what are the possible threats do you think in your business?
Okay. So let me answer it in the same order, and if Kiran or Ashwin has something to talk, they can add, or we can do that.
Yes.
I think the first question you had was, I mean, you wanted our contact details. I'm surely going to share about it. Second, I mean, you had also asked about PPEs being safe, right? I think that was the second point that you had.
For face mask, yes.
Or face shields?
Mr. Frederick, we are not using PP or polypropylene for the face shield. So we are using it for the COVID safety keys, which is only for an external use. And for face shield, we are using PET, polyethyl terephthalate, which is safe.
That is in terms of the material. If I'm correct, it was about the material that you asked, or it was about the overall
Exactly.
PP.
Because of the material.
Right. Okay.
So that is
Okay,
about the
now,
first
and the other question is, do you think really that face shields
question.
are going to protect you from COVID?
Face shield is an additional layer of protection. So, as per the research and recommendations from a lot of people, so what they have said is face mask is certainly mandatory because of the parts where there is a point of infection through nose and contamination through mouth. So that's a way. And not just that, face shield acts as an additional level of protection. And people have gone to the extent where research abroad has also, I mean, people have mentioned saying face shield is in fact much better than the mask, because sometimes people tend to not cover their nose. It's basically to do with usage. And why we have provided the second variant that I spoke to you about is simply because you are at a place where there is a crowd, and it is mandated for us to basically cover ourselves for protection. But once we are out or at a private place, we are looking for some fresh air. Why take the face shield, keep it at a place, and get towards contamination? Why not just pull it up for some air, and again put it back, so that we are also comfortable that way, and it's all safe. So that was one thought I had. Maybe Ashwin or Kiran, if you have something to add, you guys can also.
Certainly, Ranjan. So, in a sense, what has happened out of face shield is today, say, there are various different kinds of plastic related products which are out there in the market. Now, people don't generally understand. Say, no, they understand plastic is a plastic, but in a sense that what is the right product that which one needs to definitely use to keep themselves protected, becomes very much important. And that's an area where we work consistently to get feedback from people, and then say took up, say, the face shield as one of the item, simply because now one of the factors where the way how we looked upon this problem was hypothetically, the given the large context of population that which is out there, the beats from a density point, or otherwise facing so many challenges because of migration and things like that. So for us to work on this product, while our business got a bit down, in the early days of the lockdowns, was that even if I could make the products, just say for about 5 rupees or something, we'd still have a very huge market. And that's where we started, and then started understanding the furthermore importance from having spoken with doctors and things like that. And then that's where we got. So the users are the ones who are demanding for this product. Unlike we never imagined that early in this year that we would be manufacturing face shields to a large volume. So
But one thing is, keeping face shields to 5 rupees was a very ambitious plan. We may have not achieved it, but we have certainly got it to a place where it's just like a cup of coffee. So that's what we are talking about. So I think we have made it affordable, but definitely not compromised on the quality. That's essentially because of Kavach. They helped us scale, at the same time keep the quality and all the other factors well protected. So thank you for that. Right. And the third point, Mr. Frederick, you had mentioned about why do we call ourselves a startup? Several reasons. In the 2.5 years, close to 2.5 years that we have worked, we have made some revenue, and by offering services, yes, we are doing all of that. We are still a startup in the sense that we are a 6-7 member team with a lot of aspirations towards growth. And we are trying to change the dynamics of the manufacturing industry, taking up an Uber challenge. But we have seen success at several points, and we see as per. I mean, there is a long way for us to go in terms of be it revenues or in terms of scaling up our services and stuff like that. So by a lot of definitions, we are still a startup, and we hope whatever you mentioned as moving on from the startup phase to a unicorn decacorn phase is certainly it comes true, and we are voting for resources and help that way. We would certainly hope to make it.
So adding, this is Kiran here. So adding to Ranjan's point, on a note where Mr. Ambani called Jio as a 1 crore CR investment startup.
Right.
Well, they did that in a sense. Okay, when we say on the services side, so the idea of productizing manufacturing to a whole new level of digitization, we had to take multiple hats while the product development has been happening, and we are at a better phase than what we were when we got started. The part of the services model is on the operation side. So that's where you can look at us from a services side. But what we end up working with multiple customers is still the same product.
Okay. So are there any more questions?
No, Ranj. If you would like to go on with your presentation.
No, there was one from my what was the possible threat, because I couldn't even still get what was different from what your services are. So that's my possible question. What are the possible threats in your business?
Okay. So in terms of threats in the current phase that we are in, people could, without engaging with us into the services, what we feel is there is a bias, because a lot of other companies, like you said, talking about X number of printers and X facilities at their end, they may not be able to deliver the results, and that could be an impression that is an uninfluenced bias that could happen to us as well. That is some threat. But nevertheless, what I can tell you that I mentioned is, with a 60-70% repeat rate, I think we are on the path to establish. And with the manufacturing as a service platform, the productization side that I mentioned, we will certainly make sure that our niche is seen. So that's the way we are heading towards as on date. So we'll still have to.
Okay, thank you. Thank
you.
I will call you in maybe 30 minutes to the contact number you provided on your website.
Perfect.
I have to leave now. Thank you. Bye-bye.
No problem. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you, Frederick. So there is one other question from Mr. Jnana Krishnan. Sir, would you like to go on with your question?
Yes, good evening. I have a
Good.
question on the COVID safety key, which is manufactured.
Right.
You said that you have a cover wherein you retract it back into the cover, and then you can use it every time you want to do it.
Right.
Because
Right.
once you use it on a surface which is infected, you'll be
Right.
spreading the infection actually. So, do you have something like when you retract into the cover, you disinfect it from the virus, and then you are able to reuse it? Is it something like that?
Uh, Sir,
Have
currently
you thought in that direction?
Yeah,
we
we
did.
have. Hello.
Yeah, sure.
Hello.
This is Ashwin speaking. Sir, we had actually planned for it in the same direction. We are still in the process of we have kept it modular currently. So that we, basically you can keep it in the cover and take it home and then sanitize. That is one of the options, and you can sanitize and the sanitization will happen also whenever you retract it into the cover. That's one more option. So basically there are some cost implications also. We are working out on the same.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Thank you.
But we also have a brass variant. I think Ashwin was he would go to it. So as we know, brass is an antimicrobial metal alloy. So certainly there's one. This is one variant which would definitely address the point that you mentioned. And again, we have brought it to great deal of affordable price and stuff like that. So Ashwin, please go on.
Yeah. So as Ranjan mentioned, brass is an antimicrobial metal alloy. So here we have provided similar features like finger hole and also ATM button. The additional feature here would be a slot for key operation. So in order to rotate the keys uh, uh, or the kinds of levers in offices, corporate offices, and these things. And also made of brass, it is much more durable when compared to any other plastic. And also the brass, this brass finish will also have the brass surface will also have the. We have also provided a ruler as an additional feature, which can be used. Yes.
Mhm.
It can be
That-
used, also used as a keychain.
That's just a nice to have feature in terms of
Yes.
ruler. Anything could be used. So yeah, that's about this. So one thing is again to address the reason we have provided the cover is to avoid contamination. But in terms of going beyond contamination and looking at a way of sanitizing, all the three can still be washed with sanitizer, and it could be used. That's the way we are looking at. So it's very
Okay.
durable that way. That's certainly addressed. Right. So next, the
Uh,
third line of product is intubation box.
Intubation box. So this is a kind of uh, preventive healthcare device which can be used in the which is usually used in the hospitals. So the process of this device is used as a protective layer in the process of intubation in the hospital. Whenever the patient is being intubated by the healthcare workers or doctors, so this is used to avoid the direct contact of the aerosol material with the from the patient to the healthcare workers. So here we have added several features in order to improve the functionality of the functionality of the device based on the feedback we have received from the several of our hospitals which are our clients. So angled viewing, basically there are sharp edges at the corners which affect the viewing area of the healthcare workers. So we have provided an angled viewing surface, so which provides a better look. And also front facing holes for doctors, which is a common feature which is already there. And also which includes handles at the edges, basically helps to deploy the device onto the patient and also remove it from the hospital beds. and also armholes on the side with basically helps in the assistants on the side to assist the healthcare workers. And also this is easily this can be easily assembled and dismantled with the help of cable ties, regular cable ties, so that the which is very friendly compared to the which is very sanitization friendly compared to the existing models. So the existing models, as you can see, it's a half a meter by half a meter of the size. Because of its size, it will be very difficult for the healthcare workers to sanitize it regularly after each use. So that each of the panels can be dismantled once we cut the cable ties, and it can be reassembled after for the next use. So this is a feature which we have added,
Yeah.
which adds up to the functionality. And for the ease of deploying on patients of various age groups, we have made two versions of the same thing. The second version, what you are seeing here, is for children. Intubation box small. This has the similar features with a smaller size and a lesser weight. So that's about the product.
Right. The basic thought process here was we were wondering why is it that the entire box has to be replaced if there is a crack or if there are any concerns. Why not just replace one sheet and continue to use? So that's the reason why we made it a lot modular in terms of usage for both. And that's how we came up with this. Although aerosol box is a common term that is used, what we came to an understanding is that it's not totally avoidable spread of aerosol, but during intubation and at this point it can, without the box, it has been shown that it significantly spreads in terms of the spatters and other stuff will be seen to 2 meters. So that's how far we are talking about in terms of the spread of spatters and droplets. That's why we felt this is a good product to be used across hospitals. So this is a particularly hospital focused product. The previous two product segments are for common use, but all are on the preventive side. And yeah, in terms of customers towards COVID, we have interacted with a lot of hospitals. We are staying in touch with them, and currently we are focused on the manufacturing part of these products that we are talking about. Huge volumes of product that we have planned to deploy. Any inquiries, any requirements, we would be happy to support and take it up. Uh, that's about the customers towards COVID. In general, the customers that we have engaged with, there is a reason why a lot of these customers are working with us today. And this is our journey till date. That's in a nutshell. So hope this has given all of you a good understanding. If there's anything, in terms of questions or something that we can help you with, we'll be happy to do that.
Yes, thank you, Ranjan. So, participants, do you have any questions? So yeah, we still have 3 minutes left for 6, so we can take the last question, I guess, by Mr. Jnana Krishnan. So the question is, will you be able to manufacture electronics blenders used in CPAP and ventilator?
Yes, certainly we'll be able to help. In fact, we are actually in a discussion with one company, who's working on CPAP. So they had a couple of components that they wanted us to help with. They have ready designs, and we are helping them with, basically going for prototyping and stuff there. We can certainly help you, sir.
Yeah, this CPAP is the requirement for the present this thing, because many doctors are not going straight away for ventilators for the COVID patient. CPAP, continuous positive airway pressure.
Correct.
So that is the new thing, and we are looking for electronic blender for that. So that is wherein we mix the oxygen and the compressor inside the electronic blender. So instead of a mechanical blender, electronic blender is a little better option right now.
Oh, you're
so if you
looking
can
at
think
the
in that
electronic
direction, and
blender. Okay.
yeah. So
No, sir.
I'm looking for manufacturing that particular device.
Okay, okay. So
So
the way we can help you is if you have everything, I mean, in terms of the material and other process thought of, even on the electronic side, we can help you with things around it, because our focus is mainly on the mechanical aspects of anything. So that's how we have been helping customers. So, very specific to the mechanics part of it.
yeah,
Uh,
I think we'll take it offline once you
Certainly,
give me the
certainly.
contact details.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Thank,
So
thank you so much.
this is our contact details. I'll also put it up down, and I can, if need be, you can also get in touch with Harshini or the team. Anything
Okay.
we do. So yeah,
Thank you for the update.
right.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Krishnan. Thank you, Ranjan and team. So we had a nice session with them. We even came to know more about the company and even printing, 3D printing. So thank you so much for the session. Thank you, sir. Thank you, everybody, participants, for joining us in the Friday evening. So let's meet up soon for the next session. Thank you all. Have a good weekend. Bye.
Thank you so much.